Okay, so that is
I'm
doing.
trying to keep this out of the way so people that are on the stream aren't, blinded out of their minds.
Ah, yes.
There we go.
And hey, Prisma G, thank you for joining. I hope I didn't butcher your username, since I do have a habit of doing that. Welcome to John's stream, where I'll try to say what your name is, but I may not say it right. Oh.
I always have trouble. I always have a terrible time doing that, butchering names.
And then also, I've been really excited that admittedly, Bucky joined our group. That was really freaking cool. He didn't have to.
No, but, it helps when you got like-minded people that are able to, help out with a brand new car that, is obviously new to you. We're still learning stuff about our own cars every day.
That's true.
Dang, we saw that XT that was a convertible the other day online. We're like, yeah, we knew they existed, but never seen one personally.
Exactly. Well, the other thing I'm hoping, if I could pull a rabbit out of my rear, is I would love very much to be able to make Subaru Summer Solstice, Subifest, Radwood. Hey, Professor Cheto, thank you for joining. I want to set up a meet for us. So all XT West Coast users. Because I still want to do that.
That'd be fun.
I think, unfortunately, the most logical place to do it is Oregon.
Look at that air filter. Gross.
Yeah,
That is grody.
that is pretty nasty. I will not lie. Oh, alrighty. So, okay.
Of course, I still gotta buy a new battery for this thing, even though it's only, almost 4 years old.
Oh, at least you are here. You know what the average lifespan of a brand new battery is here in Ridgecrest?
Year and a half?
Year and a half, 2 years, yes. That's if you're taking care of it.
Why is it like that? Is it just because of the heat?
Heat and
Or
cold.
Oh, okay.
We get cold snaps or heat waves out of the blue. And
Yeah, we usually get cold up here, and then it's usually like that's when the battery wants to take a dive.
yep, that's what it's like. Nope, I give up. I retire. Screw you guys. Screw you guys,
Yep.
and go ahead.
That's right.
And yeah, so when I used to work for American Towing, which was the AAA deal out here, I used to get so many battery calls, both in the summer and the winter. Almost to the point where it was just insane. Because I'd be like, okay, I could go home. No, you can't. You got already 10 more battery calls. Like, in a town of 30,000? How?
Yeah, how long has it been since you worked for that towing company?
2019 was the last time I worked for them.
Oh, okay.
On the tail end of that, I worked for a buddy of mine's auto shop. It was called Five Finger Customs. And then COVID hit, everything went downhill, and we couldn't keep the doors open. But also on top of it, since the doctors didn't know what to think of it, what it was, they're like, "Hey, so are you doing anything that's what do you call it? Vital? Is your job a vital job? Like, what would you classify cosmetics for cars?" It's like, that doesn't sound very vital to me. Like, okay, why do you ask? She's like, well...
Oh, I didn't look at you as an essential worker.
Yes.
That's what you're trying to find.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, so what's that mean? She's like, well, since we can't guarantee anybody's health or anything, why don't you stay home with your wife until she has your kid, and we'll figure out what happens from there. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I like this. Just threw a wrench in more complicated stuff. Thank you. So I ended up not working there anymore, and My boss unfortunately was very old school. Because he was the kind where, okay, are you sick? Yeah. Are you functional? Yeah. Why aren't you at work?
Well, I mean, we all ran into that, unfortunately, in our time.
Yep.
Because during COVID, I was building aerospace parts, and we were looked at as, essential workers, but we got rid of, like, 60% of our workforce at that point, so there was, it used to be 14
no!
of us. Well, it used to be 14 of us, turned out to be, like,
Four
of us left at the end of it.
Jeez.
So we're like, okay, well, that's going to put a damper on things, but sure, why not?
Oh, that was the other thing is, unfortunately, that American Towing was my best paying job. And so I was on call 24 hours. And a lot of times I worked 36 hours straight. Guess what I made per year?
Probably at most 40K, 45.
Try half that.
Holy shit!
21,000 was my best paying for a job.
I don't know how good that is in Ridgecrest, California, but up here in Washington State, you'd be in the poverty line, good sir.
Well, poverty in California at that time apparently was 55,000. Like, so a homeless guy on the side of the road begging is making more money than me.
On a good day, yes.
I was like, holy shit.
That's fucking stupid.
Yep. Honestly, the only thing that kept me going for so long is one, I enjoyed the job. It was one of the rare jobs you show up and the client, customer, whatever you want to call them, is ecstatic to see you. Two.
Yeah, usually.
Oh yeah, no. The entire time I worked there, I only had one upset customer, if you will, and that was my first year. And I was actually very concerned about it at the time. And my boss was like, dude, don't worry about it. And I'm like, why would I not worry about it? I got to thinking I did something wrong. It's like, no, she's old. She has her days. And you just so happen to come across one of her bad days. Nothing against you. Like, well, it certainly seemed against me. She was pissed at me. It's like, yeah, next week she'll be pissed at Al. So what? Like, okay. She seemed happy the previous time. He's like, oh yeah, that's the fun of getting older. Those are known as mood swings, kid. Like,
I mean, it's not wrong, technically.
no, that's why I like, oh, well, I can't argue. He's not wrong. It's just, I was a kind, especially back then when I was younger, where if someone were to be bothered with me, especially at a professional deal, I felt as though, okay, I done fucked up. I want to know how, so I can make sure that does not happen again. I took my work very, very seriously. And for me, any ailments whatsoever was a reflection on my performance, and therefore me as a whole. And I remember when he finally got the gist of that, he's like, oh, no. Do not take the job that seriously. It is there to get you pay, and that is it. And boy, was he right on that, because it barely did that. And I remember the first time I got hired by them, because I was leaving Shell out in Pearsonville, which I was barely making at the time, probably $9,000 a year. It was literally nothing, but I was part time, so. And I thought,
Does oil go through this guy?
no, oil should not go through it.
Good to know.
You will have some oil residue in it. That is normal. But it should.
I hope the silicone doesn't hate it.
Silicone usually doesn't.
See, here's the funny thing. When I read online, before I bought this hose, it said oil resistant, right?
Uh-huh.
And then, in the description later, it says don't use it for oil lines. I'm like,
Okay.
So are you contradicting what you're saying? Is that what I'm getting at?
That sounds like the...
These are good for, coolant, but...
That sounds like the classic, please don't sue us, we're making this fantastic project, enjoy.
We're trying, please.
Yeah.
Alright, so now my question is, where did it go?
Oh, hey! So that's what happens with it.
The joys of taking off stuff weeks earlier and now trying to figure out where it's supposed to go back.
Oh. Well, that's okay. I just realized they made a mistake anyways. I guess.
This was the previous that was attached to it, because it doesn't match up with anything else. That went right here, like that.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the thing that will suck, is you'll have to rebend them, or, get them into that contour. All that crap. So you'll have to find the right size to squeeze it in there and kind of make up for that curve. Or you'll have to be lucky enough to hunt down the right curvature of something that's available. Which, of course, is...
Well, I'm just trying to find out where it's supposed to go in accordance. Oh, maybe it goes onto the intake.
Oh. And thank you, Keytick Media and Herman Chen for joining. Again, apologies if I butcher your name. That's...
Hello, gents.
Yes, hello, gents. And possibly gals. Thank you for joining.
Can you believe that my parts car had a better intake tube than my car did?
Actually, yes. Yes, I can. Because I've come across...
It had more miles, and it was literally used as a gambler car.
I've found that... Okay, have you heard, though, about the thing with shoes for collectors?
No, please enlighten me. Shoes for collectors.
Okay, so here's the what do you call it? The paradox for collector shoes, which I found really bizarre. They don't want them to be used, of course. That holds the collector value. But if they're not worn, they deteriorate within about 10-15 years. So
okay, sounds about right.
They have to be worn a certain way, or they have to be stored in a certain way where they still retain their moisture and don't break down. I'm like, that sounds incredibly agitating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Here's the thing that's going to put my kid through college. Oh, well, never mind. Dust to dusk. Ashes to ashes. No. I mean, I thought in some ways our collector hobby got a little irritating. But the reason I was pointing that out is perhaps it's a similar thing. Maybe since your car before you got it may have been sitting fairly long. Granted, it maintained everything else in it. But maybe certain parts like that are high use, high volume, did not...
Well, you're gonna hate me for how many miles were on it when I bought it.
50,000?
Slightly more.
Okay, 65,000.
You were right on the dot.
Oh, wow. Hey, Toby, thanks for joining. That's crazy. Yeah, mine, I think, was 180,000 originally. It is now 240,000 on the chassis. My father's
that sounds about right.
Yeah, my father's XT6, however, I think was, I want to say about 85, 90,000 when unfortunately he had to park it. Because it had the split head issue, and at the time the internet, of course, was not so widely used, so he was not able to...
So he thought it was dead.
Yep, he thought it was done. The local shop in town was going to charge him $950 to fix it.
I mean, well, I guess at the time that was probably expensive. Now that
would probably be about $2,500. Yeah, this was in the late 90s, so this would probably be the equivalent now about like $3,200. And for a car that, as my father pointed out, he barely put that in, or he barely spent that to get it. And my father is the kind where if the car is this X money, I am not putting that X money into it. Period.
True. Very true.
Even though, as he pointed out, that is the one smogger he absolutely loved. Which, for that man to like a smogger, is an act of God. Because my father is normally pre-smog because of this state.
Well, I mean, are we all?
Well, I mean, we're not. We have smoggers.
Well, see, that's where Washington always kind of threw me for a loop.
Oh, I forgot. Yours isn't a smogger anymore. You have the collector thing.
Well, not even that. Like, you know, Washington's always been about, well, at least lately they've been about, go EV, it'll help with everything, it'll keep emissions down. It's like, okay, then why did you get rid of all the emissions testing places if that was the case? Like, if you're still worried about emissions, why'd you stop all of it?
Oh, wow. Did not know that.
Yeah, we don't do emissions testing up here in Washington anymore.
So,
We closed all of them down.
yeah, if anything, California's doubled down.
I mean, unfortunately, you got Gavin Newsom out there, so yikes.
Yep. Reigns was not exactly high on his priority.
Nope, but hey, we're going to keep this a family show and not talk about politics.
Exactly.
Nobody needs to hear that. They hear it enough every day.
No
This
kidding.
is a happy channel where we all talk about wedges and weird cars and things that got us interested in these weird machines to begin with.
Exactly.
Alright, you put it in.
It's thinking about it.
Come on, don't hit me, please. I've done nothing but love you over the years. Come on.
Oh, it's got to earn it, you know.
Oh, and it's making me earn it for sure.
You know how they are.
Oh yes, I do.
I imagine if mine's like this, hell, mine's like that even if on parts that aren't even really technically part of it anymore. Aha, helps if I pull the right
There we
wire.
go. There we go, baby. Come on, get on me.
Get on, get.
Trying to make plastic with old rubber is not the funnest thing in the world.
No, especially when you're paranoid, going, I can't get this plastic anymore. Please don't break.
Please, God, don't do this to me.
I've been a good boy.
I mean, I should have just thrown a little bit of lube on it first, but oh well, what can you do in life?
Silicone lube, if you have it, definitely comes in handy. Lithium grease is a fairly good substitute if you have that. But yes, that will make your life infinitely easier. Just saying.
Or you just give it the old gusto and send it home.
That is an option as well. Okay. Wow, this is admittedly going to be such a trashy video.
What do you mean? This is awesome.
Oh, no, this part's fun. I'd say when I go to try and touch this up for headlight guy, or the,
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's going to be interesting.
Require brute strength on that.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can find some electrical thingies to do things. Yeah, that was really deep. Oh. Oh, hey, that's a piece of metal. Okay,
Like